Good morning, angels. Good morning, beloved beings of love and of light and of truth and of presence and experience and being. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy now. I'm just going to share this as you tune in. It's good to be here with you. Perfect. Good morning. Today, what came forward was the crystal and the crystalline consciousness, the incredible allies and friends and beloveds that are the Crystal Nation, and the crystal weaving. And it is the first day of the 21 Days of Angels where this kind of frequency has come in, where it's really connected to a physical aspect on Earth. And I feel what I feel presently in my body as I'm speaking and connecting with the crystalline consciousness is the crystals, is just the profound love that's here, and just this grounded pillar of truth that comes through their wisdom. And presently I am holding a selenite. This is a selenite that was gifted to, let me bring it up close so you all can tune in. This is a selenite that was gifted to me by a dear soul sister. And it was actually like this long. And a third of it broke off, and I gifted it to another sister. And then another third, like clean break, as you can see, super clean break, broke off, and I gifted it to another sister. And usually when one of the practices or ways of working with crystals is that was passed down to me through various knowledges. When a crystal breaks or shatters or anything, you place it back into the earth to be recalibrated and do what it needs to do. And I was going to do that with this one, and it was like, no, it stays. So this is one of my pillar selenites. There's also a selenite behind the computer that I have that I just love. Selenite and I have a really wonderful relationship. I've used selenite. Selenite is an incredible crystal that holds so many incredible codes. You see the lines that come through it, and there's just so much coding and mystery as well as history in these beautiful beings. And so selenite and I have been working together for at least the last 5 years. And when I started a Reiki practice, when I was doing Reiki sessions with clients, selenite was always like one of the main crystals that would come forward and would want to be co-creating and utilized in the session. So around the person. And the beautiful thing about selenite is that it clears energy so beautifully. And I find, and this is for anyone who, especially if you have trouble sleeping, or you have like it's hard for you to fall asleep, or you wake up a lot in the night, what has helped me, I'm a fairly good sleeper, but sometimes, depending on the waves of energy and the Schumann resonance and sort of the energies that ever flow within all of us and around us, sometimes it's harder for me to fall asleep. So I will take a piece of selenite. I have a little tower of selenite that's by my bed, and I will take that and actually hold it to my chest or my belly, or just like hold it in my hand and take deep breaths, and I sleep like that. I sleep so well. So highly recommend. Selenite is a really beautiful, it's one of the first crystals that came into my consciousness with this awareness, with this sort of a remembrance that there's a consciousness with everything. and it's stayed. It's one of my dearest companions and dearest allies in this earthly realm. So selenite. I also have my beautiful two Lemurians that are with me all the time, and just have them with me. And these are the beautiful allies and friends that have been with us for the entire 21 days of angels, like around the computer, or I'm holding, or they have been with us in this journey, which is just so amazing. So what I wanted to drop in with about the crystal consciousness and what's present right now, and whatever messages want to come through, is how they are here to support us and help us, and how we are there to support and help them. And this is the space, the cycle. What I'm being shown is the giving and receiving, right? When we the magic of this consciousness, and I think this is true for many different variants of this, but I've noticed it especially with crystals, is that when you're finished with the crystal, when your time is done with this particular crystal, you either know to, like, you feel the pull to put it back in the earth, or to gift it to someone, or to let it go, or they disappear. They sort of just like fall out of your hand. And I've had this happen countless times. Used to have, I remember this one time I actually found this amethyst that my sister had, and she was like, please go ahead and use it, and it's yours. And then the next day leaving it at a friend's house and just feeling very clearly, okay, like I'm not meant to, like, that was it. And then having another amethyst that would come in and out of my life, like literally I would lose it and then it would come back in, and then lose it. So there is this space of like crystals materializing as well as like going to where they need to go next. And it's a really beautiful practice of non-attachment, where just trusting that now that it's gone, you can feel the grief or feel upset about it. Like I've had moments where I'm like, oh my God, no, I loved you, or and feeling really sad about it. But then you're like, okay, I trust that if it's meant to come back, it will. And if it's not, and if I'm complete with it, then I'm complete with it, right? So they have a really beautiful beautiful energy in that way. And I'm feeling the Fae come in as well, the Fae energies, a lot of elementals. But what's beautiful is the message that I've been getting for quite some time now is there are crystals that are literally just coming up to the surface of the earth now, and showing up, and it's a way of assistance. And what came in this morning, as well as I was tuning in, was, like, everything happens within, everything is present within. It is all a projection and a reflection in the external reality. And because we are in a human excuse me, because we are in a human incarnation, we are in a physical embodiment, and this is a reflective reality. Many in the collective consciousness have come in either with full amnesia or partial amnesia to their gifts, to their abilities, to their infiniteness that they embody in physical form. So speaking of like psychic gifts and intuition and ability to do a lot of different things, we are so much more capable of doing things that seem impossible because of our mental consciousness, or what we have been told to believe through the societal programming, through various different things throughout history and expansiveness on this linear timeline of what seems a linear timeline, but everything is really happening now. So what was coming in this morning is that allies such as the crystals are a incredible help and support in reigniting, remembering these abilities, and it's not about giving power to another thing or another person or another consciousness. However, it's in the co-creation where it's like, okay, I need some help today. What is it that I need to know? And utilizing it as a co-creation, as as a partnership, as a collaboration. So crystals are these really incredible beings that are here to help us. And they hold profound codes. Now, what do I mean by codes? Coding, very similar to what is in a computer, right? Or when you're creating a website or things like that. It's like you talk about code. So it's information. So each crystal, even if it's, say you have a selenite, each selenite has a specific vibrational coding. And this is why certain crystals come into your life at different times, and specific crystals, right? They know exactly who they're coming to. And a big, beautiful part of what I know to be true is that the crystal that comes, to you, like, especially like, for example, my Lemurians, I know that I had them during the time and the incarnation and the space of Lemuria. Like, I remember having them during that time, and for me, I coded them with song, and shared information with them through song. So a lot of the crystals that are coming into the space, some of them are very new in the sense of, like, maybe you've never experienced them before, but there's a frequency and vibrational match. And most of the time, it is a reunion with a beloved ally, beloved friend. And crystals are portals. They have really incredible abilities to, like, you go into a whole other dimension. I remember I was at an event where I was doing a sound healing, a sound meditation at the end of an event, and there was this massive, like, point, like quartz point, probably, around this size, maybe a little bit bigger even. And it was pretty thick. And, I just, like, put my forehead onto this crystal, this beautiful quartz, and I immediately went into its realm, into this dimension of just, like, pure crystalline consciousness, and seeing all these crystals and hearing the information, hearing the words. And it wasn't even words, it was sound. It was telepathic communication in this realm. And really, and it was this, the word that comes through is almost like inception. Like, I was in the realm of the crystal consciousness, but then I was also within myself as a crystalline being, and like, seeing the crystals that are the crystal that I am, and the transmitter that I am. And so it was this really, so they're portals. And if we really allow ourselves to surrender to the wisdom that they hold, because it is also wisdom that we hold, because it's a reflection and a vibrational match, it can be really, really profound. And crystals are just, it's okay to have allies, right? We have support system everywhere, right? We don't do this alone. We are the microcosm to the macrocosm. And we also are a macrocosm to the microcosms that live within us, right? It's an ever unfolding, infinite amount of weavings and tapestries and dimensions, portals and dimensions, So what I love about the crystals is that they really remind us. And they remind us of the beauty and the ability of the earth, and the fact that the earth can create these incredible beings, this consciousness. And some of this consciousness comes from different planets and dimensions as well. So it's a fine tuning. It's a connection. It is something that really brings you forward into deeper remembrance of who you are and what you are. And stones too, rock consciousness, and trees and the moss. It's like, it's all a consciousness, it's all a vibration. When you start to see that they're all interconnected and interwoven, it's really, really profound. And they will show up in the most unlikely of places. I'll share a story where I was in the desert in Palm Springs 3-4 years ago now, quite a while ago. We were having we were gathering. There was a whole bunch of friends that went there, and I was going through some very interesting. I was in a deep night of the soul, or dark night, deep night. I love that, dark night of the soul, so to speak, or just like in these, like, on excavations of depth, and like in the depths of my darkness, and coming through and moving through a lot of the mud, a lot of the sort of reality collapse, essentially. And I took a moment where I went to, I left the sort of main spot where we were at. There was maybe about 20 people or so, maybe more or less. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go take a walk, in the desert a little bit, and just, like, find a spot to meditate. And, if you've never been to the desert, I highly recommend you go. It's a really incredible, what an incredible portal to be in. But when you go into the desert, you step away from where people are and everything, even like 10 feet, and all of a sudden it's just like deafening quiet. You can't hear anything. There's not a lot of echo or anything, because it's just flatland, And it was really beautiful because there were like desert plants everywhere, and just beautiful nature in the desert. It was really it was very special. Anywho, so I went and I was meditating and I was really deep, and I was coming to a deep truth at that moment, and crying and just processing through my body. And it was surrounded a lot too around abundance and around ability to create and ability to support myself in the physical, etc. So there was a lot moving through for me with that, which is of course connected to the multi realms of all of those things. And I'm walking back, and I think I took a little bit of a different route, or maybe the same route. But what was interesting is that I'm walking, and literally my body and my eyes like shift directly to this stone. And as I'm walking closer, it's a pink rose quartz, like this beautiful and fairly big. It was like about this big. And I was like, whoa, like what? I was like I was like, holy shit. And it was this moment of just like reality reflecting to me that like, even though you're in the depths right now, like know that you're always taking care of it, and that you're here, and that you're so loved, right? Because rose quartz often at times is associated with love and with self-love and care and the softness. And it was just this beautiful moment where I was like, oh my gosh. And so I received that, and I just was like crying and saying thank you, and just like what a gift and what abundance. And then I walked a little bit farther. I don't know how much farther, but not too far, because I also hadn't wandered off very far from where we were. And again, my body went, and my eyes went directly to this stone, and it was another rose quartz. And I'm just like, what? And a little bit bigger than this. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And it was just this magical moment of like, one, two rose quartz in the desert. As far as I know, that's not something that's common. And they were fairly raw. They weren't like polished. It's just like raw rose quartz. And I just was like, what? Like, it was insane. I was like, how do I find two large pieces of rose quartz in essentially the middle of the desert in Palm Springs, California? Like, what is this, And of course the mental mind was like, how did this happen? What's going on? And like, who knows, maybe somebody dropped them. Maybe, our alien friends brought them there. Maybe it simply materialized. It doesn't really matter. What matters, right? Spirit and matter, interwoven, same thing. That's such a good topic. That's another one to drop in on. But what the beauty of the magical moment of the synchronicity of actually finding or stumbling upon, or simply vibrationally matching, right? Frequency matching to these rose quartz. And it's exactly what I needed in the moment. And the first thing that I did actually was I gifted one of them to a dear friend of mine who was really supporting me at the time, like I think within that day. So it was really beautiful. And so the crystalline consciousness is so powerful, because they really are there to support you. And what's a vibrational match or not. Like, I picked up crystals, like my second Lemurian, that I was like, oh, who are you? And I just touched it, and I just had tears flowing down, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow, you are absolutely coming home with me, and having the memories come back of like holding these beings. And right now they're in physical form into what we know as crystals. This is what they look like, but they are also beings. They are also energetics, and they used to stand tall like us. They used to, and they still do in other realms. Like, there's so many beautiful incarnations and expressions of these beings, just as we are. We are so many different incarnations and expressions of being, not just on this physical plane, but in all the multi-realms, right? There's an infinite amount of universes and parallel timelines and information. So we are expressed in so many different ways. Like, there might be a Yulia walking around in a parallel timeline that has tattoos everywhere. Like, I have two here. But so it's the infinite realm of possibility. And I think that what our dear crystal friends give us and show us, hi Mariana, So good to have you here. I think and feel what is so powerful about crystalline consciousness is that it offers us another opportunity and an invitation to explore these realms that live within us in a way that we are able to travel and embody in our physical vessel while also being able to tune into and connect with so many, excuse me, of the infinite realms that are here, you know, and really discern. Like there's a lot of beautiful discernment with crystals as well, where you like tune in and you're like, is this in resonance, is it mine? And it's the same thing with, you know, like the beauty of crystals. What I have found as well is that, speaking of discernment, is like, is this crystal for me and am I resonant to work with it right now, or is it for someone else? Or, you know, is it like my need, I need this, or it's like, oh, I'm so looking forward to working with you, you know? So it's, there's so many availabilities for us to drop in and tune in and really work with these wonderful beings that are here to help us, that are here to support us, that are so loving and so pure. And like us, they also need tender love and care. So they love salt baths, they love getting harmonized with the sunlight. They love being in the earth. Some of them really love salt water or just water, to clear, to give them baths, you know. So taking really deep care of our crystals as well as ourselves, because we are also, we're crystals, we're transmitters. These are pillars, these transmit information. It's almost like they bring, you know, connect with the cosmic energy, and with, it's like the cosmic energy, the energy come together, and they had a wonderful child as crystals, as ourselves, as the trees. Like this is all, we're all transmitters, we all hold really profound information. So crystals are really support in that, and tuning into that depth of knowing and remembrance. And I know that they have been a beautiful part of my journey, and they have been coming in so loud the last few the last several weeks, and especially, yeah. So I love them. How do you relate to crystalline consciousness and crystal consciousness, and what do you know, what do you have you found? Yeah, they will let you know when it's time to work with them. They, so, you know, or they're like, hold me now, you know. They'll like fall off the shelf, they'll fly out of your hands, they'll do a lot, you know. They are very high vibrational beings and technology that I just really love and adore. And now together, let us tune in with our hearts, with our crystal hearts, with our diamond hearts, as my dear friend Stephanie Ann Lodge loves to say and connects with. And I love that, because diamond is like the all sides of the coin, all, everything encompasses, all the colors, all the being, everything, the full spectrum. So tuning in, who is our guardian of the day? Oh, I love it. I love her. Hope, love, and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth. Choose loving thoughts. So I'm going to bring her forward. There we go. I love her. I learned the other day that peach, one of the vibrations of peach is compassion, and I love that. It's like the mixture of like the orange, the warmth, the creation energy, and like pink, red, home and love and all of that. So I love this because I think it works and resonates so much with crystals too. It's like, I think crystals have this hopefulness, have this um, this incredible trust in the world, and it's like clarity. They help bring clarity to so many things, and I just really adore and love them in that way. And hope, it's like really having grounded hope, where it comes from this place of love, comes from this place of deep inner knowing that you are taken care of, that you are so deeply loved, and because you are love, that is what you are. And the remembrance of that, and like getting curious, like if you don't know what love is for yourself, and what that, you know, what that is, like where can that be witnessed in your world, or discovered or uncovered, or, you know, it's like, again, curiosity I think is a really powerful pathway for that. And my high recommendation, and maybe this is why rose quartz came in today as the story and as the guide, is to connect with the energetic of rose quartz, like even in your meditations or as you're tuning in, just like, okay, I call on the pure harmonic resonance of rose quartz, of love, to dance with me, to be with me, and see what comes forward, and we all know a sense of love in some way, whether it's something when we were 3 years old we loved to do, or something that we received, or just an experience that we had that felt like true love, not conditional love, not love that may have been programmed, but really this like easeful calm. So if it resonates for you, maybe to call in a rose quartz or just the energetic of the rose quartz to support you in the spaces of love. And again, I bring in the element of nature. Nature loves so deeply and holds us so beautifully. So if you can today, in that path of love and that walk of love and acceptance and presence, go out into nature, get your bare feet on the earth if you can, even if it's for a minute, because I know for so many of us it's cold right now. But if not, put your hands on a tree or in the dirt and just get out into nature. All right, tuning into our message of the day. What is our message of the day? Yeah, I love it. Yes. Just say yes. So this is for anyone right now, especially that is contemplating something and uncertain. And even though you know the answer, this is your yes, right? Just say yes. Like trust that what's coming forward is a yes for you. And also, what comes in with that as well is that if there's a powerful no that's coming through and you're like not sure because of X, Y, and Z, but you know that it's a no, know that if you say no to that, you're saying yes to something else, because we are in a realm of polarity. So the beauty is that when you say no to something, you say yes to something else. And so it's always coming forward with you, and that's the integration of the union. So saying yes to what is a yes says a no to something else, and that's also beautiful, right? The neutrality of no and yes, where it's like it's just a clear energetic focus. So again, crystals and crystalline consciousness really supports this, and crystals as well. Like if we see ourselves, like we are also crystals, right? And even though so much of our experience has been in a carbon-based body, so many of us are upgrading so very quickly, where we don't need as much density in our body. So a lot of us actually are very much eating less or even sleeping less. There's a lot more clarity. There's a lot more introspection. So we are also crystals. So we are information and we're carrying. And so we're clearing a lot of the information from our cells and from our organs and our tissues and muscles and bones that have been held for a long time, either through ancestry, through the land that we come from, through the collective consciousness, through our personal individual experiences, through our many lifetimes that are always happening now, because it's quantum, so it's always now. So there's a lot of clearing happening right now. There's a lot of movement moving through in that space. And what I found is the one of the ways that supports that, in order for it to just move in the way that it knows how, in the divine intelligence that we are, is through being in stillness, through the simplicity of being in nature, or doing something that feels joyful. Is like very simple. So my invitation to you, with love and acceptance and this hope, whatever's present for you in your life right now, my invitation is that you say yes to it. And yes can sometimes feel scary. Sometimes it can feel really edgy because it's out of the familiar. It's out of the familiar of where you've been. But if you know within your heart, without a doubt, even with maybe the other doubt and stuff piled on top of it, but like you just have this inner knowing of yes, trust that, go for it. This is the time. The time is always now. Now is the portal. Now is the gateway. So tune in, and do not be afraid to call on your benevolent allies, such as the crystals and the plants and the stillness and silence, the inner knowing of your heart, the rose, whatever it is there, the hawk. Yesterday, the hawk. I hadn't seen a hawk in months and months and months and months. And I was like, well, I know you're always with me, and when I see you, I will see you. And yesterday, after picking up some new equipment, I look up to the sky, and there's this beautiful hawk just flying right above me. And I'm like, Amazing. So we're always guided, we're always supported, and our ability to be perceptive to that support and to be able to be in the receiving space of that support, I think is really powerful. So I love you. Thank you for being here. And today, with the beautiful crystalline consciousness that's here, I have my crystal singing bowl. And as I'm speaking, there's like an echo in the bowl. This is an F frosted quartz crystal singing bowl that I was gifted a year and a half ago now, maybe a little less than that, year and some time. And I love it because it's another way of clearing and coming into center, and it's also just like a remembrance, again, another access point, portal to remembrance of the divine infinite being that you are in form and in the physical, and knowing that spirit and matter are one and the same. Matter just has more density, right? But everything happens from spirit. Everything happens from this field of energetics. It's all energy. If you zoom into the microscopicness of a chair, you're going to see that there are particles that make up the atoms that make up the chair are moving, although very slowly, and it's like they're still moving. So everything is an energy, everything has a consciousness, and you get to choose what you connect with in your consciousness. So I love you. Going to tune in. My invitation to you, if you're tuning in right now, is to close your eyes, come into a space where you feel comfortable, either sitting or laying down. Taking a deep breath in and exhaling out. Deep breath in, exhaling out. Deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. Then exhale on a sound. Just receive the tones of the crystal bowl and the tones of the voice. And if you feel like toning as well, please, please, please go for it. Our voices are so powerful. So please, please go ahead and tone. And yeah, that's all I'll say. Time for the sound in this way. Thank you so much for tuning in and tuning into your own divine infinite nature and your crystal nature and the beautiful crystals that are here within you and around you. And I love that we completed when we completed because my dog's like, it's time, we're done. He's excited because more people came into the house. So I love you. Thank you for being here. My invitation to you is to honor the crystal of your heart, the crystal of your body, the crystal of your mind, and the crystals that you have with you. And maybe beginning a new relationship or partnership with them in a way that is nourishing to you, that empowers you in your remembrance, and that they are truly there to support you in your highest and your most loving and most truthful and shining the light that you are. So I love you. Thank you. If you have a crystal story to share, please share it in the comments below or send me a message because I love hearing the magic of crystals and the way that they come through. I love you. I will see you tomorrow for day 17 of 21 Days of Angel Songs. We're almost at the end. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? Wow, it's felt like 3 years and 3 minutes all at the same time. It's really amazing. Um, this has been quite the profound journey for me. So I would love to hear from you if you feel called to share. I love you. Thank you, dearest divine, crystal, magical angels that you are. And I'm wishing you well on your day. And yeah, see you tomorrow.